Hey guys, welcome back. For this lecture, we're going to learn four awesome things. The first thing is learning how to format shapes, but not just one, multiple shapes at the same time, right? The next thing we're going to learn is about text boxes. These are basically shapes where you can type in words and numbers and so on. Then we're going to connect those two things using a line, and it's going to maintain the connection, which is pretty cool. Lastly, we're going to learn about placing a frame on Mr. Bean. Okay? So, firstly, for those of you who don't know who this character is, look him up. His name is Mr. Bean, one of the funniest comedians of all time. Always made me laugh when I was a kid, and even till now. So, if you don't know him, please look him up and look up his show. So, the first thing we're going to do is add some squares. So, we want to go Insert, Illustrations, Shapes, and Squares, which are called rectangles. Sorry. So, rectangle, and we're going to place them on four things: his eyes, his mouth, and his tie. So, let's do that now. Let's create one for the eyes, like so. Now, let's go back to Insert. Oops, I pressed the wrong thing. Insert, Shapes, Rectangles. Let's place one on his mouth, like so. And lastly, Shapes, Rectangle, one on his tie. Now earlier, you can either format the first one and then copy them, right? Or you can format them one by one. Now what I'm going to show you here is formatting them all in one go. So we're going to use the Select Objects tool again. You want to go Home, Editing, Find and Select Objects. Now what Select Objects actually does, just for a bit of a description, you can either select the images one by one, and you can select multiple ones at once. This tool just helps you do it a lot faster. Okay, so I'll show you both ways. With the Select Objects function, you just highlight the objects you want to highlight. Now they have to be within the bounds of where you select. In this case, it's not going to select the image in the background because it's not completely in the area we've selected. So we release. Now as you can see, all three squares have now been highlighted. Now that's one way. The other way, okay, is to hold the control button on your keyboard and select each of the images one by one. 1, 2, and 3. So you got to hold control the whole time. Now we can format it using what we used last time, but I'm going to show you guys a new tool. What you want to do is right click any of the objects you've selected and then go Format Object. Now this tool is a lot more detailed than the one above here. Okay, so this is great for beginners up here. If you want to do a little bit more, I suggest using this one. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the fill, basically the blue background. We're going to go No Fill, like so. Then we're going to go Line Color, Solid Line, we're going to leave it blue. I like that color. Then we're going to go Line Style, and here we're going to make them all thicker. Alright, so let's increase the width to about, let's say, 5. That'll do. Then we want to change the dash type to double dash, like so. Actually, on second thoughts, let's make it red just so we can see it a bit better, like so. And you got all these extra things like shadow, reflection, and so on. Feel free to play with these. Okay, so we're happy with that. Let's close it. And there you go. You modified 3 images at once. Pretty cool. Now the next thing we're going to do is create text boxes to actually describe the features we've selected. So we're going to go Illustrations, Shapes, and you want to go Basic Shapes, Text Box. Okay, now you draw this just like every other shape. We want to select one, create one here, and we want to call this Eyes. Okay, now let's create a duplicate by going selecting, dragging, holding control, and releasing. Then we want to do that again. Select, drag, control, release. Okay, now we just want to change the contents of these text boxes. So let's change this to mouth, right? And let's change this last one to tie, like so. Now what we want to do is connect these squares to these text boxes. Okay, now the reason you would do this is if you have an image where you're selecting you're highlighting a certain area like so, and you want to be able to move the image without losing the connection to what the text box says. So if the text box describes a certain area, you don't want the text box and the highlighted area to disconnect. Okay, so the way to do that is you want to go insert, shapes, and we just want to choose line. Okay, the first one under lines. Oops, pressed it too early. Insert, shapes, line. Now what we want to do is when you hover, meaning you don't click, over the edges of one of these boxes or these shapes, these little red handles appear. Now that's what you're going to use to connect them. So let's start with the eyes one. Now as you can see, the sides have turned red. We want to click and then connect the other end to this box, like so. Alright, let's change this to red by going Format, Shape Outline, Red, Shape Outline, let's make it a bit thicker, so you go Weight, let's make it 3. Now watch what happens. If I move this image, look what happens to the line. It stays with it, and it's the same the other way around. If I move, oops, if I move this one, it stays with it. So it's really helpful, helps you maintain control of images, and so on. So we're going to move this back. Now let's do it for the other ones. Let's go Insert, Shapes, Line, connect this one, like so. I think that one connected. Yep. Let's do the last one, Line, and connect. Okay, so I'm not going to bother formatting the others. What we're going to learn next is applying a border around Mr. Bean. Okay, so the way to do that is, this is a neat little trick to make it seem, to make your image a lot better and a lot cleaner, rather than this kind of boring just square outline. So you want to select the image, go Format, up above, then we just want to select one of these picture styles. So let's click the More button. So there's heaps to choose from. Let's apply, what's a cool one? So there's a lot of features, as you can see. Okay, let's pick, actually I like this last one here. There we go, pretty cool. Now lastly, let's just group it all together so we don't have any issues. So select Objects, like so, right click, Group. There you go. So now you won't have any problems if the image moves as well. So let's zoom out. Let's look what happens. There you go. Pretty cool, right? Alright, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys soon.